Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Good afternoon, Assalamu Alaikum, and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmed Dawaz with the latest roundup of sports today. We've got a lot to discuss, but it's all to play for tomorrow. It is the big final of the ICC Men's ODI World Cup 2023. Five-time former ODI World Champions Australia taking on twice ODI World Champions India in what is expected to be one of the best finals that history will ever give us. And we're hoping for a competitive game leading up to this World Cup. India are in prime form. 10 out of 10 games for them, including that semi-final, unbeaten. They're a side that would be tipped to win this final in any given day. And I think at home conditions, with all the advantages that they've got, they're playing tremendous cricket. Batting, bowling, fielding, everything clicking at the right moment. Mohammad Shami is that one candidate who's been leading that fast bowling attack. Then the spinners are performing well. Batters in absolute carnage. Talk about Shubman Gill, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli in between. Then you've got Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul, and even going up till Ravindra Jadeja. Everything to play for. Australia have got form on their side as well. David Warner looks to be in one of the best World Cup forms he has been. You've got Glenn Maxwell, Mitch Marsh is back into the side. Smith, Labuschagne make up for that middle order. And you talk about the bowling. Josh Hazlewood, Mitchell Starc, absolutely brilliant. And then Adam Zampa having the tournament of his life as well. And Pat Cummins, who can forget the captain, who is leading one of the best sides in the world right now. So we'll talk all about the final in detail. It is, like I said, all to play for tomorrow in Ahmedabad. And no matter what the records say on paper, I think everything is going to be put to rest because it is a final. So we're going to be talking about this. Time now to introduce the guests. First of all, in studios, we've been joined by sports expert, a regular feature of our program, Mr. Ali Mehdi. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm very well, thank you.
We've also been joined by cricket expert and analyst Taha Mohiuddin Khan. Assalamu alaikum, Taha. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm very well, thank you.
Great to have you as well. Now, Ali Mehdi, going into tomorrow, like I said, the records say a lot when we talk about the head-to-head between these two sides. But when that's, there's that extra adrenaline rush of the final, everything tends to go away.
Look, Ahmed, whenever it comes to a World Cup final, everything goes out of the window. You can forget about everything. It's a World Cup final. It's the biggest time of your life. You need to embrace it. And regarding head-to-head, regarding past form, everything goes out of the window. It's all about how you perform on the day, how you can take that pressure, how you can deal with that mental aptitude and then at the same time, how you can deliver on the day, because it's going to be, I think it's going to be one of the best finals ever. And the reason I say that is because a lot is at stake over here. You could have a team which could go up to be six-time champions, or you could have a team which could be three-time champions. So a lot is at the stake. And then at the same time, two teams who are in incredible form. You talk about Australia, who are in an incredible run right now, 8 consecutive wins. Then the Indians, who had been home, have been invincible, 10 consecutive home wins at home. I mean, something's got to give, and I can't wait for that spectacle. It's going to be one of the best finals ever.
Absolutely. Also joining us now on Sports Extra, senior cricket commentator and senior cricket expert Leena Moin Aziz. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam, Ahmad. Hope you're well, and hello, Ali. Hope you're doing well.
Certainly, all of us here are very well. Great to have you on the show. It's been a while since we had a chance to talk. Now, like I mentioned, that Australia, India, be fair enough, for two best sides right now in this tournament. They're going into the final, although I think I've seen 90% majority staying with India on this one in the final. It's going to be hard to predict, but then again, I really want to talk about the two sides in detail, and I'd like you to comment, because India, right now, the Invincibles, of course, with everything clicking. But if you talk about Australia, that hunger to win tournaments, that champion mentality is something that is creeping up as well.
Like Ali said, Ahmad, Australia has been champion 5 times. If they become champions now, I think it will be the 6th time. They're very strong side. And from the beginning, what I've thought is that any team who can stop this Indian brigade, which is like a well-oiled machinery, they're rampant. I mean, they're on a roll, they're playing well, all their bases are covered. Any team, one team that I really thought could stop this Indian brigade was the Australians, because they have that character, they know how to win. They're tough cookies, and they won't crumble under pressure. And we saw that, the game against Afghanistan, how Maxwell single-handedly got that double 100 in spite of being so hampered by that injury. And then, Cummins, his character, staying with Maxwell, then Starc, Hazlewood, up top, you've seen Warner and Head doing so well, Marsh doing so well. So most of their players, Zampa is doing so well. These wickets, Zampa is a very very important character because wickets do take spin, and in Ahmedabad, what we've seen is that spinners do get some help. Earlier on, before this tournament, I was just reading about Ahmedabad. It's not a very high scoring ground. I mean, I think first innings average score is about 250-ish, and then second innings it's even less than 210. But this World Cup, of course, it's been a little different. But anyways, it's a slowish, sluggish ground. With not much help for anyone really. I mean, the ball stays low. It's difficult to play stroke. But then, of course, we also know that for big finals and these tournaments, the pitch is tweaked a little bit, so there's a little bit even bounce, and it's easier for both the teams. So if anyone can stop the Indians, it could be the Australians. But then, I mean, how much credit can we give the Indians? I mean, the way Rohit Sharma has captained, the way he lays the platform, the way the two-man army, Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, have led this Indian team like Javed Miandad and Imran Khan did in 1992. I mean, it's just fabulous.
Absolutely. I think all to play for when you talk about these two teams. Mr. TMK, we're talking about the pitches. That's going to be an interesting question because obviously we've got to talk about these two sides, their journey throughout the World Cup. But a lot of people have said that it might not be a 300 plus wicket in the final.
Well, Australia, if you talk about Australia initially, then Australia hasn't been getting that much of seam surfaces in this World Cup. Wherever they have been provided with a surface that provides a bit of seam and swing for the bowlers, they have dominated. Let's not forget that match against India where Australia got India 3 wickets for only 2 runs. So it is very crucial that if India bats first and if there's some seam and swing in the pitch, then it will be certainly a good opportunity for the likes of Josh Hazlewood and Stark to dominate within the first power play. I would also say that both these teams have been playing the first power play really well. So it's a game of the nerves. I believe whoever dominates in the first power play, as we saw in the last semi-final, that Australia bowled really well against South Africa in the first 10 overs. Similarly, India put runs on the board against New Zealand in the first 10 overs. So I believe that this will be also a good contributing factor, that whoever dominates in the first power play will end up in winning the match as well. Secondly, as far as the pitch is concerned, so the 2 IPL finals and 2 of the league matches in this World Cup have been won by teams who are chasing. But let's not forget that it's a big pressure game. It's a final match of the World Cup. So whenever you have runs on the board, batting first, it will always be a challenge for the team batting second. So putting the records aside, I believe whoever wins good on the day, whoever plays good on the day will end up winning the match for their teams.
Well, Taha, certainly you talk about the first 10 overs. That's where Indian bowlers majority have enjoyed their success as well. They've got the ball to move around, nip around a bit, and I think teams who have negotiated those first 10 overs, I think New Zealand did that brilliantly, although they lost two wickets, but then eventually they started attacking from the middle over. So what should be that strategy for the first 10 overs for any side batting against India?
For any side batting against India, look out for the first 10 overs in a very mature and responsible way, because let's not forget that the Indian pace attack has been phenomenal. If you talk about Mohammad Shami, he has conceded 32 runs with against 52 balls and taken 8 wickets against the left-handers in this World Cup. So if you talk about Australia, they'll be opening up with 2 left-handers, Travis Head and David Warner. So they need to be very careful against the pace attack of Mohammad Shami, Mohammad Siraj and Jasprit Bumrah. Even though the record of David Warner has been good against Jasprit Bumrah, so Australia would be hoping that he continues the same form against Bumrah. But if they bring out Shami early into the attack within the first 10 overs, then they need to play him very sensibly, not go out there all guns blazing and lose wickets, because if they somehow are able to manage the first 10 overs by the Pacers in a really good way, then Rohit Sharma will bring out his strategy of bringing Kuldeep Yadav into the attack, because left arm Chinaman against the left-handers is also a very good ploy. Secondly, then you talk about Ravindra Jadeja into the attack, a left-hand spinner, and let's not forget the middle order of Australia is mostly made up of right-handers. So Australia needs to go out with a very good batting plan if they are batting first against India.
Well, Ali Mehdi, this is interesting now, isn't it? Because even against South Africa, I think one of the major reasons why Australia were able to get that target, although it was pretty even Stevens, and the game was probably one of the most competitive games of cricket in this World Cup. The fact was that against South Africa, David Warner and Travis Head were given a role of just going after the bowling, regardless of losing a wicket. And those 50 to 70 runs they got up front in the first 6-7 overs gave them a slight edge in chasing a target down. So we can expect the same mentality from Australia in the first couple of overs. They like to go after the bowling of any opposition.
No, I think they're going to go with the same template they had in the last match. The last match in the semi-final against South Africa, they made about 60 runs for the first partnership, and the chief destructor was Travis Head, who was phenomenal, made 62 off about 48 balls. So it shows that they have a clear mindset over there, and they know that they want to attack from the front, and so is the case with the Indians. But the thing with the Australians is, I think the turning point for this Australians in this World Cup has the return of Travis Head. He adds so much stability to this batting lineup, Ahmed. Up top, he's much better option than Mitchell Marsh, because he's a good foil for David Warner too. They both get along very well with each other, and I think Travis Head, he's a very underrated player. I mean, ever since the Ashes of 2021, he's been phenomenal in Test cricket, T20, but especially white ball format. So him coming into the play along with David Warner, they know they have that clear mentality, clear mindset that they want to attack from the front, want to get those quick runs, give that platform, because after these two, Ahmed, comes Labuschagne and Smith, who are the sort of players who rotate the strike, bog down, try to make sure that they can anchor in over there. So, they have a clear mindset, the Australians. They want to make sure that they get that very, very fast start, accelerated start, so that the middle order actually has something to work upon. Because if they don't actually start off, then Australians get bogged down. So it's very important and imperative tomorrow that when the Australians come to bat, that both Travis Head and David Warner, I mean, David Warner has been good this tournament, but he needs to step up on the big stage. He's the sort of player who does well against the smaller teams and even Pakistan. I mean, getting that 160 against Pakistan was phenomenal too. But at the big stage, on the final, on a knockout, he still hasn't delivered. So I think tomorrow is a day which he really needs to come calling.
Right. Lena, interestingly, I like the fact that we get to discuss this particular concept of, because I know you're a fan of modern day cricket, and the way run rates are now important in world of cricket, and of course we're certainly a side that lags behind when it comes to playing that form of cricket. But this particular reason that I mentioned, even against South Africa, the role was given to Travis Head and David Warner to go after the bowling. I saw in one of their shots, some of their shots as well, where it was unorthodox cricket, but I think that plan was simple, to just strike the ball as much as they can and get those quality runs up front.
Are you asking me the question?
Yes, Lena. Modern day cricket.
Yeah, because in this World Cup we've seen that the power play is like a double-edged sword. When second time under lights, the power play, it is very difficult to bat in the power play under lights because the ball is swinging. But first time around, if you're batting first, then power play is your time to get your runs quickly, because once the ball gets a little older and the spinners come on to ball, it's very difficult to get runs then, and of course the run rate gets slower, and the bowling side comes into domination then. Like we saw the South African and Australia match, they got 74 runs, the Australians, in the power play, and that is what laid the platform, because after that you saw that when what's his name, Maharaj and
Shamsi.
Tabrezi were bowling in tandem. It was very difficult. Even when Markram was bowling, it was very difficult to get runs, and ball was spinning a mile, especially on that Calcutta track. It might not spin so much in Ahmedabad because the Calcutta track is different, and there was some rain and there was some freshness. It was crumbling, so it was different. But even then, it is the best time when if you're batting first, the best time to get runs is the power play, because after the power play, when the spinners come to a bowl, of course, every team has two or three good spinners, then it's difficult to get runs. And when you're batting second, the power play is the time when you get 5 or 6 runs per over and survive and not lose too many wickets. What happens, Ahmed, if you're batting second and under lights in the power play, the fast bowlers are deadly dangerous because the ball is swinging. And once you lose 2 or 3 wickets in the power play, even if you get 60 runs and you lose 3 wickets, you'll be under pressure chasing. So, it's a very interesting cat and mouse game that you have to understand that when is the good time to respect the new ball under lights in that power play. Respect doesn't mean you get 35 runs. Respect means you get 55, 60 runs and not lose too many wickets. But first time around, if you're batting first, then you go for the runs in the power play, get 70, 80, whatever you can. So, that is what good teams have done, and that's why they're in the finals. India, New Zealand, Australia, all these teams. So that's a very, very important area. And that is where I feel Rohit Sharma is so effective. He gets the runs up front, and then his team can relax around Virat Kohli, and then later on they can go on an onslaught.
Well, I want to talk about the captaincy as well for both the teams. I mean, let's start with Pat Cummins. The day he was given the captaincy for Australian cricket were very troubled times for Cricket Australia. And Cummins not only stepped up as a skipper who would lead across formats, but also an individual who would lead from the front as well, get these bunch of guys together, make sure that they play a lot of cricket together and that camaraderie returns to the Australian side. How well has he handled this opportunity?
Well, both the captains, Rohit Sharma and Cummins, have done well, and they've had a good friendship going with the team. The role definition has been good. The friendliness, the camaraderie you talked about with the players has been good. Rohit Sharma and Kohli have got a good thing going. They're the two senior players. They're good friends. Their families are good friends. So that kind of translates into the team also. Role definition is very clear. They all lead from the front, whether it's Cummins or Rohit Sharma. He bowls and gets wickets. He bats first and fearless and makes the runs. So, that is why these two teams are in the final, because the captains have done a good job. They led well. They've led by example. They've been fearless. Their strategy has been good. Their role definition has been good. They understand the conditions, the severity of the situation. When Cummins was batting with Maxwell against Afghanistan. So these are very intelligent human beings also. And that is why I stress that, if someone who's intelligent, understands the situation, should be the captain and can lead from the front and not selfish. The key about Rohit Sharma is he is not selfish. He is not going for his personal 50s, not his personal 100s. He is going for glory, for the country, for the team. And that is the difference. And that is why these two teams are here and the others have gone back home.
Right. Taha, talk us through the captaincy skills of these two particular skippers. But, like I said, that Cummins stepped in at a very crucial time. Even for Rohit Sharma, it was marred by controversy when Virat Kohli let go of the captaincy. There was a lot going on with both these sides. How well have these two individuals led their sides to a World Cup final?
Well, I would agree with my fellow colleague that Cummins has led his side very well. And even in that match against Afghanistan, where he played the role of an anchor along with Glenn Maxwell, he played very maturely and did not play any rash shots and let Maxwell score all the attacking runs. And if you talk about the final game, he needs to make some sensible decisions because as we have seen in this World Cup, Marnus Labuschagne is struggling. His form is a bit jittery. So Australia needs to go out there with a better strategy. If they need to persist with Labuschagne or if they need to bring out Stoinis into the attack, because this is a very crucial stage. If Australia loses early wickets, because most of their opening order has the same sort of batting style. Travis Head plays attacking cricket, then David Warner is also like that. So if Australia loses early wickets, then if they need to persist with Labuschagne playing that mature innings and getting his side through. Secondly, for Rohit Sharma, I believe that yes, his form of playing cricket is a bit attacking in nature, and I would agree with Lina that he does not go for his personal milestones. But let's not forget that Hazelwood and Cummins are very good with the attacking lengths and with the good length deliveries. If there is some movement in the pitch, then Rohit Sharma will not be able to score freely against these pacers. So it is yet to be seen how he plays the role of an anchor, or he goes out there playing attacking cricket and then leaves the responsibility of leading the batting to Shreyas Iyer or Virat Kohli. So I believe the captaincy has been good throughout the World Cup, but it all boils down to the final match where both the captains have a big test to their shoulders, and let's see who ends up winning the match for their teams.
Certainly. Ali Mehdi, the best way to give a batter confidence is to give him the opportunity to get runs under his belt. I think that formula is plain simple. And that's one platform where India has done tremendously well with their batters. I mean, we're all talking about Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, but you talk about the diversity of this Indian side. Shubman Gill has been amongst the runs. Shreyas Iyer into his first World Cup has gotten 2 centuries. KL Rahul at that number 4 spot is, a proper player who can accelerate or provide stability, and we're still yet to see if it boils down to Jadeja what he can do as well. So talk us through that, batting prowess of the Indian cricket team.
Ahmed, if you look at the past 10 matches, I mean, you look at that match, there are 2 things I want to state. And the first thing is that the openers have always delivered. Did you know throughout this World Cup, neither has there been a match in which both Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli have failed. Either one of them have gotten about 70 plus. So that just speaks volumes that, if one hasn't taken the responsibility in terms of seniority, the other one has. That's why Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli are so important. And that's why they've been invincible throughout, because their batting order has been amazing. All the other players have actually batted around them. You talk about Shubman Gill, who's also been doing very well ever since he got dengue. I mean, nobody thought that he'd play this well, after getting dengue, because you do tend to get very, very fatigued and tired, and it does tend to take a time for recovery. So he's done very well. Other than that, the way Rahul Dravid, Rohit Sharma have actually trusted the younger lot, like the likes of Shreyas Iyer. I mean, the last match, the sort of shots he played, it just shows how much talent he has and that he's here for the long run too. So he's also played extremely well. But I have to say the standout player has been KL Rahul. I mean, the big matches, he's stood out. I talk about the game against Australia in the first match. He's the one who really stood out along with Virat Kohli. The last semi-final, he was out.
Ali Mehdi, was a genius decision to make him bat at number 4. I think they answered the biggest question of that unstable middle order, the instability that they had. If Virat Kohli was to depart, who would step up? They answered that question, I think, like a genius, that Rahul Dravid offered KL Rahul to bat at number 4.
Look, there were a lot of questions before the Asia Cup. Nobody really thought about KL Rahul, that he was injured. Nobody thought he had much of a chance. But the way he stepped up to the plate, the way he's actually taken responsibility speaks volumes for how much talent and how much they trust him. This is the thing with Rahul Dravid. He trusts all his players, Ahmed. You look at the formula, they have about 6 batsmen over there. And then obviously you have the 5 bowlers too. 6 plus 5. It just shows that he trusts his 6 batsmen, 6 specialist batsmen, 5 specialist bowlers too. He trusts that formula too, and 6 incredible batsmen in which all of them have delivered at different stages too. Just speaks volumes for itself. KL Rahul has really stepped up to the plate, and other than that, the only real batsman who hasn't really been tested on the big stage and hasn't really been tested is Surya Kumar Yadav ever since Hardik Pandya got injured. So that's a very interesting one. At the same time, you talk about Ravindra Jadeja. In previous ODI tournaments, should it be T20s or 50 over, you talk about Ravindra Jadeja, he's really come to the party. So these two haven't been tested. If Australia really stand a chance against this Herculean batting order which this India has, they really need to get those early wickets like they did in Chennai, get the likes of Virat Kohli out, Rohit Sharma out, put pressure on that middle order, because if they don't, they're going to score like a mountain of runs against you. They're going to get 350, 400, 300, but on this sort of a wicket, it really, the battle comes down to tomorrow. I think it's very important how the likes of Rohit Sharma and also the likes of Shubman Gill are going to go out against Josh Hazelwood, because I think the way Josh Hazelwood has been bowling, if if they can get runs against him, then they have a very good chance. Otherwise, if he can get under you, then the likes of Pat Cummins and also Mitchell Starc come to the party.
Absolutely. Lena, batting prowess of the Indian cricket team. Let's talk about these individuals who are fairly not, new to international cricket, but then again they slightly have not spent enough time there as well. But the thing is that, something that Sourav Ganguly was mentioning to a private television channel, that the problem is that everybody sees the IPL, but apart from the IPL, he said that our domestic structure comprises of so many games and so many players being produced that each of these players, once they come to debut for India, has got a number of runs and number of games behind their belt.
Yeah, because the Ranji Trophy is one of their main products, like our Qaid Azam Trophy. And Ranji Trophy is where most of these players spend a lot of time, improve their game, play a lot of 4-day cricket. Once you play 4-day cricket, Ahmed, your batting is in good order because you bat and bat for months and months. You get many chances to improve things. You get chances in the nets. You get long hours with the coaches to talk to them about, if you might have some chinks in your armor, and those things then improve during that time. And it's a long time. So that's a very important time to improve. What happens in Pakistan is that most of our players are not interested in playing the Qaid Azam Trophy. And that's why they suffer. They think it's beneath them to play the Qaid Azam Trophy. They might as well pick up some money and play LPL or CPL, God knows whatever else. So it's important to understand that the Indian players, the batters have done so well, the bowlers have done well because the emphasis is a lot on the Ranji Trophy and then IPL. But 4-day cricket is what helped you improve. And the young man, I don't know his name, your other guest, he was making some fantastic points. What's his name?
Taha.
So Taha was making some great points about Labuschagne. I was also thinking yesterday that if they drop Labuschagne and bring Stoinis in the side, they could have more firepower. But then I was also thinking that kind of decision would have to be made once Cummins looks at the pitch, and he will see if it's a sluggish pitch. He'll probably go for Labuschagne because then, they'll need someone who can bat long and make that important 40-50 runs. He doesn't have to play that silly reverse sweep. He's not that kind of batsman. But they picked him up in the team to be there when they lost some wickets and give them that stability in the middle. So if the pitch is sluggish and slow, then they probably go with Labuschagne. If it's it's got some run, it's got some bounce and pace in it, then they probably go with Stoinis. So that is the choice they're going to make tomorrow after looking at the conditions, the pitch, and that is an important decision for the Australians. The Australians haven't batted that well. Let's just face it. Against the Afghanistan team also, they were in trouble 2 days ago. Against South Africa, they were in trouble. So they got to find some stability in Smith and Labuschagne and ask them to bat properly, proper with patience, and not play shots that are not natural to them. So after looking at the pitch, I think Cummins will make that decision. And it'll be very interesting to me which player they pick, Stoinis or Labuschagne. If they pick Labuschagne, they've got to tell him, look, son, you got to bat for 40-50 runs and not do anything silly. Let the other players who do silly things like Maxwell and maybe Head, let them do the silly shots. Let them play the unorthodox shots. You just play straight and get us those 40-50 runs.
Absolutely. Taha, that's an interesting point that we mentioned. But then again, it all boils down to the importance of giving your domestic structure that weight that, players are particularly focused on that form of cricket.
Yes, very rightly you pointed out how India has been so successful in producing such a batting lineup that when they get out there on the world stage, they start giving you results. They make that performance that they provide in the domestic circuit count on the international stage. Now I'm going to give you a case study of a batsman who has been performing really well for the Kolkata Knight Riders. But the thing is, he has been given a chance in the international circuit as yet. The reason being that the selectors and the coaches are giving him adequate chances in the domestic circuit, in the 4-day games, in the 5-day games, in the T20 games, and once they see that his form is up to such an extent that he's ready for international cricket, only then he will be called out for the Indian team. At the same time, we saw the example of Haider Ali. He performed really well in the Under-19 World Cup, and suddenly he was picked for the national side as well. In parallel, he was picked for Peshawar Zalmi as well. Well, I would agree that he came out as an emerging player in the Pakistan Super League, and it was a good platform for him to score runs and share the dressing room with the likes of Hashim Amla, Yunus Khan, Babar Azam, and other senior pros. But bringing him into the international side at such an earlier stage, when he has not played enough domestic cricket, when he has not played enough 4-day games, 5-day games, now I believe he is playing for the county and improving his performance, improving his technique. But that's how you basically make mature decisions for the national side. Now there's a new management for the Pakistan team. I believe they will have these case studies as examples to make better decisions in future for the Pakistan national team, because as my fellow colleague mentioned, domestic circuit is a pivotal point of your international cricket. I believe that we are here for the final discussion, but there's a camp that will start on the 20th of this month, and the domestic performers of the Pakistan cricket has been called for that camp. So that's a very good decision, and I hope the selection will be made based on the performances of those cricketers.
So I think the first step in the right direction is having Mohammad Yusuf working with our under-19s. I think that is something that was required not today, but probably at least 5 years ago, and we would have had probably a much more technical aspect of batters coming out of that era, and even bowlers for that fact. I think experience says a lot. But Ali Mehdi, I understand that the way these changes have been made, people might not accept them wholeheartedly, but then again, it has to be something that we look forward to in the right direction.
I think there has to be stability. Look, you can make as many changes as you want, but the most important thing is over there, give them time and space. The problem is whenever there's sort of changes, in the upper hierarchy, that actually trickles down and actually affects all these other dispositions in the national, and the NCA or the under-19 coach, or you talk about the head coach of the Pakistan national team, the NCA for that matter. You have to give them time, even Cheen's selector for that matter, you have to give them time. You can't just make a decision and then overnight change them. If you do that, there won't be any stability. How has India been, for that example, for that matter, or even Australia, been so successful over the past few years? And why they're producing a plethora of talent? And that is because there's been stability. All these positions have been held by people. They've been given they've been given a sufficient amount of time, and at the same time, they've actually delivered. You need to do the same over here. I think it's an impeccable, or shall I say, excellent decision to make Mohammad Yusuf as under-19 head over there, but you have to make sure that you give him an opportunity. You have a World Cup for under-19s every 2 years, so give him that opportunity.
Yeah. And we've got an Asia Cup coming next month as well.
Yeah, Asia Cup too, then the under-19 too. So that's why you have to give him an opportunity. Even whatever people say about the likes of the chief selector or other positions too, it's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, we live in a world, or live in a society where everybody should be.
But change is constant. Yes.
Change is constant, and everybody should be immune to sort of criticism. But the fact is, you have to deliver on the big stage. You have to deliver on your roles.
Absolutely.
If they can actually deliver on the roles, they'll shut all their critics up. So it's very important that whoever has been selected, give them an opportunity. Even the captains, to give them an opportunity, and hopefully they can prove all their critics.
I mean, somebody went to an extent of saying that your chief selector and your director of cricket would be playing in the PSL, and so I said, look at it as in another positive direction, that they'll have first-hand knowledge of the players they want for the future Pakistan team. So they'll be not picking them from outside, they'll be selecting them on the field, playing them and testing them with whatever they want to test. So I thought that was something that we can take on a positive note as well. But Lina, because so much has been said and we tend to be an emotional nation, but like I said, that change is something that is constant and things tend to change over a period of time. All of us should be hoping for the best. How do you recognize some of these changes, especially like I said, that Mohammad Yusuf for our under-19 cricket team?
You see, I think these, the Pakistan Cricket Board is like the Shakespearean character Puck. They can only see two people. Now they can only see Wahab Riaz to be the minister, Wahab Riaz to be the selector, Hafiz should be the director, Hafiz should be the coach. I mean, they need to understand there is a thing known as conflict of interest, and they should have a separate director cricket and a separate head coach. They should have a separate minister of sports and a separate chief selector, and both the men should not be playing PSL and should be fully retired. So first things first, and these are very important things. They'll when you read these things that you don't even know whether he's going to be playing PSL and be the coach and be the chief selector. There is a lot of non-seriousness that comes out of it. You don't get a good feeling. So the first of all, the feeling has to be good. The changes are necessary, yes, but the changes should be right, appropriate. There should be no conflict of interest. I like Hafiz as director cricket, but I don't like him as the coach. If he's coach, then I don't want him to be the director. Similarly, Wahab is fine, but then he shouldn't be playing PSL, or he should be the minister. So these things need to be sorted out. And also, I do agree with you. Anyone who's given a chance to do something, whether it's Sohail Tanveer or Mohammad Yusuf, they need to be given a year and a half, and then their performance should be evaluated, not after 5 days. So there has to be more seriousness into this.
Absolutely. Of course, I think we're all hoping for the best of the Pakistan cricket team. None of us mean anything negative. There's always constructive criticism from all quarters, and especially on Sports Extra, I think we can vouch for that we have time and time again stressed the case for certain people who need to be given opportunities. But that being said, now before coming to the close of the show, I must ask my guests about tomorrow's game and a bit of the predictions as well. So Taha, where is this going? What score do you fancy, and who do you see having the upper hand in this final?
Well, Ahmed, India has been very consistent, 10 out of 10 games. But let's not forget that Australia has started peaking at the right time. Initially, people were writing off Australia, but suddenly they have picked their form.
What's your pick?
So my pick, because a mentally tougher side, 5 wins in the World Cup finals, Australia. Yeah.
And what's the score you'd fancy?
Score, I would see India batting first and Australia chasing down a target of 270.
Right, Ali Mehdi, your call.
My heart says Australia.
No heart and mind. Pick one. Don't give us that. You just pick one.
I really want Australia to win. As long as they bat first and score anything above 270, I think.
You agree with the score that Taha mentions, 250, 270?
I'd say anything above 270, they can bowl out the Indians. Because the Indians actually, but they have to bat first.
Well, that's going to be interesting. Leena Moin Aziz, your final call, Australia or India?
Well, whoever wins the toss is important. You win the toss, you bat first, you put a good score on the board and then defend it. And make sure when the toss is done, everyone's watching. That's the thing.
Certainly. Thank you very much, Leena Moin Aziz. Thank you, Taha Moinuddin Khan. And thank you, Ali Mehdi, for joining us. It was a pleasure having all our guests on the show. That wraps it up from me and the entire team of Sports Extra. It's goodbye for now.